I like trains.
Coming in at number 10, we got CSX Q372 at Hoods Mill Road on the Old Main Line on October 22nd. The reason why this is on the countdown is because this completely surprised me. I did hear Q372 approaching me on this day on the scanner, but I had no idea what it had. But, as you can see, it had an SD70MAC and an SD40-2 X-Conrail in the trail. So this was a pretty cool lash-up.
What happened to the train horn?
Number 9, we got CSX K630 in the exact same spot as number 10, Hoods Mill Road on the Old Main Line. This occurred on September 30th, 2020, and this was actually the third train we caught of the day in 90 minutes. And this K630, with 2 Canadian Pacific power and my first ever foreign power, was sitting in Brunswick for 5 days before it departed. And boy, did it depart on a good day, as I ended up seeing it along with Old Main Productions, as you saw earlier. This was definitely a very good catch.
Oh, what an idiot. That is a Canadian Pacific locomotive. Let's go, man! Dude. Oh my gosh, 8888. It's the Crazy HGE.
Coming in at number 8, we got CSX B709 and CSX E783 at Point of Rocks on July 31st, 2020. You're probably wondering why these are on this list. Well, the reason is that locomotive right there, 6937, and another locomotive you'll see in a few seconds are both ex-Western Maryland EMDs. Western Maryland is probably the second rarest fallen flag you can see for CSX, besides Pennsylvania Railroad. And here's E783, B709, of course, being the local from Pepco to Brunswick. And this was the only time I'd ever seen EMDs on an empty coal, or any coal. Loaded coal, I doubt I would ever see it. Anyway, here's the slug set. Both of them were actually slug sets. And this time, on the empty coal, it was actually the road slug that was the ex-Western Maryland. There it is, 2361. So 2 ex-Western Maryland EMDs on the same day is pretty rare. So that's why this is on the list. Coming in at number 7, we got CSX Q372 at Newport Road on the Old Main Line on August 26, 2020. And the reason why this is on this list is right here. I know it's a very blurry picture. I know it's not great footage, but that is a chassis system gondola. The only time I've ever seen a chassis system gondola on a train. Well, at least I thought it was going to be the only time I'd ever seen one, or one of the only times, because anything chassis is really rare. And this night I actually decided to go nighttime rail fanning on the Old Main Line, where I would end up catching another train, an empty coal, about an hour later. And I know I didn't get the best shot of the chassis gondola, but at least I saw it with my own eyes, and it was definitely rare enough to make this list.
$950.
Coming in at number 6, Norfolk Southern 12R at Shenandoah Junction on September 5th, 2020. This was definitely a cool catch because it would be my third heritage unit I ever caught right here, 8025, the Monongahela. Unfortunately, all three heritage units I've caught for Norfolk Southern have been trailing, but still very cool nonetheless. This is also the first time I ever caught 12R, but the reason why it's on this list is not just because of the heritage unit, but because of the fallen flags like this, a Southern hopper car. Although this would not be the only fallen flag we would see. In fact, it would be the first of 3 fallen flags on this manifest train, as the next one, right about, hold on a second, here, Reading and Northern. Of course, I've seen it Reading and Northern a few times before, but this paint scheme for the hopper car was pretty cool. And then this one, which I had no idea about at the time until I showed somebody. Apparently, this is an X-Penn Central hopper, which is really rare. Probably equivalent to a chassis boxcar or a chassis gondola. So, definitely a very cool catch and enough to make the list. Coming in at number 5, we got Norfolk Southern 776, again at Shenandoah Junction, on August 5th, 2020. And, of course, this train featured the Heritage Unit duo with Nickel Plate Road 8100 right there and Lehigh Valley 8104 in the back. These are my first 2 ever Heritage units. And the main reason why this is so high on the list is because it's a Heritage Unit duo. Sadly, they were back DPUs and not leading, but I will still take it. They're very good locomotives and very cool looking heritage units, for sure. Norfolk Southern 776, of course, a loaded coal train, actually was meeting up with 18T manifest train, which is now 16T, as you'll see in a little bit, sitting in the siding. This was probably one of the coolest shots I ever got, right there. 18T, on the left, and in the left corner is actually that Western Maryland guy. Check him out on YouTube. And, yeah, this was definitely very neat to see. And the better part was 8100 and 8104 were just sitting there even after 18T passed because there was another northbound coming that I missed. But this was definitely a very, very cool thing to see with the Heritage Unit duo. Coming in at number 4 on this list is CSX W001, again on August 5th, the exact same day. August 5th was arguably the best day I ever railfan, as I saw a ton of train action and a lot of cool action as well. W001 here at Shenandoah Junction, a geometry train. For those who are wondering what that is, a geometry train is basically a cooler version of a track inspector, making sure there are no defects, everything is well maintained. There are the cars right there. This is also another name for a geometry train is an office train or a government train or something like that. I really don't know much about it, but this was quite neat to see here at Shenandoah Junction, and I almost missed it too because I was literally driving back to the CSX side when I saw it. So, thank goodness I didn't miss it. So, yeah, W001, geometry train here at Shenandoah Junction. Pretty cool to see an ES40DC in the lead and then 3 cars in the back. So, I can definitely take it, and this definitely deserved to be on this list. Coming in at number 3 is Norfolk Southern 13R at Shenandoah Junction on July 6, 2020. As you can see right here, a pair of YouTubers, CNT Rail Productions, who's in the front, and the Plane and Train Spotter, who is on the right. This was, believe it or not, my first ever Norfolk Southern train, and boy, I was glad it was. Reason why this is so high on the list is check out its consist. Ton of locomotives, 9 in total. Many of them were EMDs. Right there, that is a yard slug 915. Right behind 915 was my first ever special unit for Norfolk Southern, honoring first responders, Norfolk Southern 911. In my opinion, CSX 911 looks better, but this 911 still looks really cool. Plus, it's an EMD SD60E. I believe there's an SD40E in front of it. Then another SD60E behind 911, as we will see right here. This is probably the best consist I've ever seen on a Norfolk Southern train. Actually, it definitely is. Ton of EMDs after the ES40DC leading. And I'm actually not sure what locomotive that is. I think that's a GP60, but if I'm wrong, please let me know. It's either a GP60 or an SD40E. And then the two back DPUs, a -9 and an ES44DC. This was quite a cool lash up, especially with the Yard Slug and Norfolk Southern 911 honoring first responders. I'm very glad that this is my first ever Norfolk Southern train, as you're about to see the video right here, and definitely enough to make number 3 on this list. Crossing the tracks.
(778) 634. Oh wow, 915. Oh, look at that, it's a Heritage unit. Wow, look at all those cars. Gosh. My gosh, it's speeding up. Oh look, there's a DPU. Oh, that's it. Wow. Holy crap, I've never seen a train go that fast before. Well, that was awesome. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Coming in at number 2, we got CSX W014 at Morgan Road on the Old Main Line on September 22nd, 2020. This completely took me by surprise. That's very cool right there, the restricted signal. W014, a rail replacer train. I went to the Old Main Line this day because I heard there was a possible BNSF coming on a K train that I guess took the Met. It was a westbound K train, because out of nowhere, this ended up being what I saw, which I think I'd take over the BNSF because of how rare it is. A rail train with 11 chassis cars. As you can see, here are some of them right here. This was extremely shocking to see, and I don't know, I'm still in shock by it, and it's been like 3 months. This was a very cool catch to see, and when I saw it at first, as you'll see in a few seconds, the train was pulling long hood forward, something you almost never see on the Old Main Line. Actually, that's like a prop. I doubt I'll ever see that again, long hood forward, unless I see another rail train, which probably won't. But this was pretty cool to see, for sure. And while some of the catches that weren't as high on the list could be considered better than this, I think because of how rare you see it, and with the chassis cars and the long hood forward as it was hauling eastbound into the siding to wait for an empty coal to pass, I'd say it's pretty rare in my book. So W014 is number 2 on this list.
Nice. 5367. And he's really speeding up.
Before we get to number 1, here are some honorable mentions. Honorable mention number 1 is a meet between Marc 850 and CSX Local D780 at Dorsey Station on the Capital Subdivision on August 19, 2020. Marc 850 with a SC44 Charger leading. This is the only Charger I've ever seen. I also saw that there was an approach signal for a southbound or westbound on the Capital Sub, but I had no idea what it was until I turned around and saw a CSX XB&O GP40-2 heading my way with 9 tanker cars. This was a local train, CSX D780, heading back to Jessup. It really surprised me to see this, and this was quite a cool catch. Charger leading Marc train and an EMD GP40-2 leading CSX train. So this was definitely a pretty neat catch to see with these two meeting up right there. Actually, that's perfect. With 6107 and 81 right next to each other. 6107 kind of giving us a horn show as well. And this is definitely the best catch I've had at Dorsey Station, as I haven't had too much good luck there, but this was pretty cool to see. So this was definitely deserving to somewhat make the list. No. It's a charger. There you go. Mark 81. A charger. First time ever seeing a charger. 8107. No, 6107. GP40-2. The charger's leaving. The second honorable mention on this list will be Norfolk Southern 18T at Shenandoah Junction on August 5th, 2020. As you can probably tell, August 5th was a pretty good day to railfan. This 18T, which is now 16T, because this is of an SD70 Ace Leader, Operation Lifesaver 9250 as the second unit. Of course, Norfolk Southern has a few Operation Lifesavers. And then an SD60E in the trail. And this 18T was 178 cars long, which is still today, even after my Black Friday railfanning adventure, the longest Norfolk Southern train I have ever caught. And actually, it's not even close. This 18T, as well as consisting of the SD60E ex-Chicago Northwestern, which is a fallen flag, by the way, and the Operation Lifesaver, has these cars are Reading and Northern hopper cars. There was actually a few on this 18T. As while this train did not necessarily deserve to be on the actual list, it definitely deserves to be an honorable mention at least. As you will see in a few seconds, actually you can see it right there as well, barely. I got another shot, one final shot of 8100 and 8104 sitting on the siding at Daniels as back DPUs on Norfolk Southern 776, as I believe they sat there for a while because there was another northbound that I ended up not catching because it was getting late and Q372 was already on the way from the old main line. But August 5th, 2020 was definitely a fun day to railfan, and there they are, 8100 and 8104 sitting at the siding. So 18T, honorable mention number 2 on this list. I'm disappointed. And the third and final honorable mention on this video will be CSX Q138 at Point of Rocks on July 9th, 2020. This was actually kind of rare, as this train consisted of 3 EMDs. 2 of them were SD40-3s and the other one a GP38-2. There was also a YN2 paint GE CW44AH, and leading was CSX 9 CW44AC, but single-digit locomotives for CSX are pretty neat to see, just because there are obviously only 9 of them, 1 through 9. This is also the last time I have caught Q138, as it now passes through in the middle of the night. But I didn't know it at the time because I was still very new to railfanning, and I still am, but not as much because I have a lot more knowledge. But it was pretty darn cool to see 3 EMDs on this train, especially because it was an intermodal autorack train. Not quite as rare as seeing them on a coal train, but still very cool nonetheless. And I definitely like the style of the -3 CSX EMDs. And this, of course, Q138, intermodal and auto rack train. Auto racks in the front, intermodals in the back. The opposite of Q137, which has the intermodals, the single stacks in the front, and then the auto racks in the back. As these two trains go to the Capital subdivision from the Met sub, or the opposite direction, other way around, to drop off those auto racks or pick up those auto racks from the Jessup yard. That's why they have auto racks on them in the first place. But yeah, this Q138 was pretty darn cool. And the third and final honorable mention on this list, next up, number 1. Loud as anything. Hello. Oh, it's an SD40-3, 505. Look at all these engines. SD40, 2 SD40-3s on this train. It was not an SD70MAC, but still, that's awesome. And number 1 on this list is CSX K630, the Brunswick yard on October 16, 2020. This, of course, is number 1 on the list because of Canadian Pacific 7017, an EMD SD70 ACU maroon and gray heritage unit. Extremely, extremely rare for our area. There it is, of course. Canadian Pacific 7017 trailing on K630 with a Tier 4 CSX GEVO in the front. And then the weird part about this train was the back DPUs because they were quote-unquote kissing. So I guess you can call them kissing GEVOs. But yeah, this, as rare as the other catches were, this has to be number 1 on my list. I don't think I'll ever see, or maybe I will, I don't know. Maybe I'll get some good luck. But it will probably be a while before I see something like CP 7017 pass by CSX tracks. For sure. As this train actually, of course, took the old main line because all loaded ethanol trains do that. CP 7017, I believe, was the first heritage unit, not including CSX sticker units, to take the old main line since, I believe, Norfolk Southern 1069, the Virginian. And I don't know what train it was on, but I'm pretty sure it took the old main about 3 years ago. And actually, Lackawanna for Norfolk Southern 1074 took the old main line as well about 5 years ago. And then 6 years ago, Nickel Plate Road 8100 was leading an FDK train on the old main line as well. But it is really rare to see this unit in general, because it's a heritage unit, but also in Maryland, or just the general area. So this train, definitely deserving of number 1 on the list. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more. Here it comes. There goes the car. Here it is. Look at this. Look at this. Look how the locomotives are. Huh. How about that, guys?